What's up everyone? Alex here. The Game Awards happened recently, and while many of us predicted who was gonna sweep it, what we can always count on is what kinds of new and exciting reveals that it's gonna deliver. And I wasn't disappointed, as we got 7 big JRPGs featured that I was really happy with. This is probably gonna be a fairly in-depth video that's gonna contain the latest information on said games, and also my thoughts on each. So I've included chapter markers here if you want to skip around to the section that you're most interested in. And if you want to see the trailers featured here with the original audio, I have links for them in both the description and in the pinned comment, as well as any pre-order links. And of course, stay tuned at the end for a special message from our producer Chloe. Let's get started. So the Game Awards started off with a brand new trailer featuring Kazuma Kiryu in Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, called the Bucket List trailer. And this is one of those reasons that I wished I actually put audio here in this video, because this trailer opens up with a really big bombshell of a revelation about Kiryu, and that just shocked me. In fact, this entire trailer frames that Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth might be Kiryu's truly last adventure. In other words, the true finale to Kiryu's story and the true passing of the torch from the Yakuza series to the Like a Dragon franchise. And it's very, very emotional. There's a lot of characters in Kiryu's life that shows up in the trailer, and there's even a clip from Haruka's English voice actress that really sent chills down my spine and just really recontextualized my relationship with this game. And just a reminder, Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth is coming out on January 26, 2024 on PlayStation and Xbox platforms and PC. Metaphor ReFantazio also got a brand new trailer titled The Royal Tournament, and they also announced that the game is going to launch in the fall of 2024. This trailer features new gameplay scenes and an introduction to the story and its fantasy setting, in addition to talking about who's responsible for this game, which is of course Katsura Hashino, who's directing the game, who you might know from the Digital Devil Saga series and Shin Megami Tensei 3 and of course the previous 3 Persona titles, as well as Shigenori Sojima, who is the character designer who worked with him on the previous 3 Persona games, as well as composer Shoji Meguro, who worked with him on Shin Megami Tensei 3 Nocturne and the previous 3 Persona titles. But there's also the addition of Koda Kazuma, who actually worked on Nier Automata, as well as Ikuto Yamashita, who is credited as a mechanical designer who worked on Neon Genesis Evangelion. Metaphor's story takes place in the United Kingdom of Uchronia, where the assassination of the king brings chaos and unrest to the land. Then, one fateful day, a magic known only to the king called the Royal Magic is invoked, and the world becomes embroiled in a royal tournament for the throne. In the midst of this, the protagonist, together with his partner, the fairy Gallica, must find a way to break the curse that has been placed on the prince that the kingdom believes to be dead. To do so, they depart on a journey across the vast land. They'll discover that in order to achieve their goal, they must participate in the tournament for the throne, and this great task shall require them to ally with many friends and followers of the various tribes inhabiting the world. Watching the gameplay, it looks like you basically get to control the protagonist on the field and engage in action combat, but if you want your squad to be a part of it, you have the option to do so with a press of a button, which will take you to a turn-based system. You can also turn back time within this turn-based mode, in addition to other options like changing formations, auto-battling, analyzing your opponent, and other options to assist and gain access to a tactics menu, which seems to have the escape function. Scott Stricker, who you might know as the Yakuza localization producer from Yakuza 0 up until Yakuza Like a Dragon, is working on this game. He's worked on the Persona games before, but this is the first large-scale epic fantasy game he's ever worked on. And knowing that he is leading this localization effort just means that Metaphor is going to have a top-notch script when it releases on PlayStation and Xbox platforms and PC in fall of 2024. And of course, because Persona 3 Reload is just a few months away, there was another trailer that was shown during the Game Awards. And the game continues to look great and exciting, and admittedly, a few months ago when I made my video about it, I severely underestimated how much new content this has. But hearing the voice actors got me really excited to see Persona 3 presented in this manner, and made me think, like, what if Persona 4 was next? One of the things I shared about this game is that the Persona team is probably using this game to kind of learn the ins and outs of making a Persona game from scratch without having to worry about writing an original plot or characters, which I think is a very good idea before tackling an actual Persona 6. And given how there's a lot of production value and budget that's kind of going into this game, I really am now looking forward to playing it when it comes out on February 2nd, 2024 for PlayStation and Xbox platforms and PC. I know that the devs don't want it to be considered a JRPG, but I was so excited for this announcement that I just had to include it here. Probably one of the most exciting announcements at the Game Awards is the fact that the Final Fantasy XVI expansion pass is out right now, with the very first DLC releasing during the Game Awards. The season pass is $24.99, and it does include both DLCs, which is Echoes of the Fallen, out already, and The Rising Tide, which is coming out in spring 2024. In a blog post on Square Enix's website, the development team shared that they didn't want to presume that a DLC would be created for Final Fantasy XVI, and serious conversations about the possibility of additional DLC content didn't occur until halfway through the game's development. However, the decision to develop additional content was ultimately contingent on player demand, and after gauging initial reactions from players, the team were able to bring these ideas to fruition. Echoes of the Fallen unlocks new story, battles, weapons, accessories, level cap, and more. This new DLC takes place prior to the game's epic finale and begins with Clive and company discovering a strange dark crystal, one of a color that they've never seen before. The investigation leads the team to the Sage Spire, a ruin of the Fallen that contains many secrets and many more dangers. This terrifying tower contains many challenging foes and some very valuable loot, including new accessories that will change the way you play. And at the top is the most dangerous foe of them all, Omega. But why choose Omega as this ultimate antagonist? The DLC's director, Takeo Kujiraoka, explains. Initially, the plan was to have a completely different original boss. However, through our conversations as we worked out the details of the story, we came to think that players might enjoy it more if we included a familiar foe from the Final Fantasy series, and that it would give Echoes of the Fallen more of that Final Fantasy identity. Players have a strong impression of Omega as a mighty foe, and it was a perfect fit for the theme of the Fallen. Rising Tide, on the other hand, features another popular Final Fantasy icon, and one that many players suspected would show up eventually in the game, Leviathan. This DLC is expected to be a much fuller experience than Echoes of the Fallen, complete with a brand new area in addition to being able to use the new icon once completed. This DLC again is slated for release in spring 2024. And in case people had any doubts about Final Fantasy's popularity in Japan, this Japanese store owner literally closed his shop because the Final Fantasy XVI DLC Shadow dropped last night. It reads, "Due to the distribution of the Final Fantasy XVI DLC, all of the staff have returned home." Thanks to Genki Japan on Twitter for the translation. Speaking of games that have a loose connection with JRPGs, Capcom announced Monster Hunter Wilds, which is a brand new entry to the Monster Hunter series, which is slated to come out in 2025 for PlayStation 5, Series X and S, and PC via Steam. We're thrilled to announce Monster Hunter Wilds today and reveal the newest entry in the Monster Hunter series to fans all over the world, said Monster Hunter series producer Ryozo Tsujimoto. Our team is working passionately to create the greatest Monster Hunter experience yet, and we're eager to play the game with everyone when it launches in 2025. Until then, please look forward to summer 2024, when we'll have more information to share. Watching this trailer gave me this really huge open world vibe, which is really insane because if you consider Monster Hunter World and Monster Hunter Rise, it still kind of follows a somewhat familiar Monster Hunter formula from the previous games. But with Wilds, there's this potential to actually stay in the world itself without having to load back and forth between the main town and the actual locations themselves. But what's also fascinating is this focus on improving the simulation of the different monsters in the world. Like things are herding together, for example, in massive groups. And there's also this emphasis on the weather having an effect on all of the monsters in the world, which seems to be really truly exciting, and making it a lot more dangerous for players to actually traverse through these worlds. One thing that I just thought of too is how cool would it be if there was like a sandstorm and you use that to kind of hide yourself from monsters so that you can jump on them and try to wrangle them. There's absolutely no doubt that the weather is going to play a very huge role when it comes to hunting said monsters. And I can't wait until summer 2024 to find out more info on this game. A brand new trailer for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth was also revealed at the Game Awards, and they wanted to remind us that the game is coming out on February 29th exclusively on the PS5, and that it also won Most Anticipated Game of 2024 during the awards. Additionally, Square Enix also revealed the official theme song for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth in a brand new trailer that debuted during the show alongside a live performance by featured vocalist Lauren Allred. The theme song for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is No Promises to Keep, composed by the incomparable Nobuo Uematsu, and of course performed by Lauren Allred, the renowned platinum-selling artist who captivated the world with her single Never Enough from The Greatest Showman. As depicted in the song Aerith's theme, Aerith has had a bit of an ill-fated and ephemeral impression within me, said Uematsu. I understood from the beginning that this song is also related to Aerith, but the poignant melody from Aerith's theme does not appear in this song. I wanted to depict the opposite of this, the strength at her core, hidden within Aerith's heart. As I listened to the recording over and over again once it was finished, Aerith, who until then was a resident of a fantasy world, now began to feel like a human being in the flesh. It's been a while since I've written a ballad that feels uniquely my own, and I'm happy to have done so. Thank you, Aerith. Square Enix also wanted to remind us that Final Fantasy VII Remake, which was released in 2020, received more than 20 perfect scores and became the highest-selling digital release on the PlayStation platform in Square Enix's history, exceeding more than 7 million shipments and digital sales worldwide since its release. Now, I'm gonna be honest, I've been actually replaying through Final Fantasy VII Remake bit by bit over the past year or so. It's been kind of difficult because there have been so many JRPGs coming out that I had to review, but I plan on reviewing Remake and Intergrade together leading up to Rebirth's release. And I have some very unique opinions of it that actually consider a lot of Square Enix history with both turn-based and action RPGs. So please look forward to that one. And last but certainly not least is this announcement that, I can't wait to tell you guys what I think about this game, which is a brand new entry in the Mana series called Visions of Mana. This is the first mainline installment in the Mana series in 15 years, and this is according to Square Enix. So they're actually acknowledging the fact that the game hasn't had a new game in 15 years, which is amazing. Visions of Mana will return to the series' action RPG roots and take players on a brand new adventure with protagonist Val, a soul guard assigned to protect his childhood friend, who's been chosen by the fairy as the Alm of Fire to travel to the Tree of Mana and rejuvenate the mana flow. Visions of Mana is coming to PlayStation platforms, Series X and S, and PC in 2024. Fans of the series can expect new designs of the series' beloved characters from Mana series illustrator Airi Yoshioka, and a new captivating musical score composed by Mana series composers Hiroki Kikuta, Tsuyoshi Sekito, and Ryo Yamazaki. Honestly, when I first saw this trailer and saw the mana tree, I literally jumped up from my seat and started just pacing about because I was so excited. And then, of course, they showed the gameplay and its action gameplay, and I just got really excited at the possibilities. Because after playing Trials of Mana a few years ago and getting really excited for how well they treated the Mana series and its conversion from 2D to 3D, made me think like, okay, they're probably making a 3D Mana game right now, right? And of course, Visions of Mana completely confirms that. And I'm so happy that this is going to be one of my most anticipated games of 2024 instantly. And what's also interesting is that they showed key art of the game, and it features 4 other playable characters in addition to Val that I'm hoping you'll be able to party with and be able to engage in battles alongside. We really don't know a lot, but either way, a brand new Mana game in 15 years is really exciting, and I can't wait to play it next year. And that's 7 JRPGs that were featured on this year's Game Awards. Chloe wants to encourage you to become a Phantom Thief on the Backlog Battle Patreon. When you get to our page, it might say join for free. That's a lie that Patreon put there. You won't see anything at all if you just do that. But if you become a Phantom Thief and subscribe for $5 a month, you'll gain early access to reviews, list videos, and more. You'll even get to see cool new things that I'm trying out, new styles of videos that aren't even on the channel, as well as full scripts of videos that you can read and try to sound like me. And by subscribing, you'll even get your name listed at the end of every video, and gain access to a secret Patreon channel on our Discord. So head on over to patreon.com/backlogbattle, subscribe at the $5 tier, and keep our dream alive. Thank you very much for watching, everyone, and I'll see you in the next video.